Today we're making a jalapeno popper pizza. Now this is inspired by Casey's recently released jalapeno popper pizza. It is unbelievably delicious. But what's gonna make ours even better than what they make is the fact that we're gonna put our own homemade bacon as well as our own pickled jalapenos on top of this, all on top of our great homemade crust. Let's get started. All right, now this jalapeno popper pizza is actually super simple to make. You don't need a whole lot of ingredients. First of all, of course, you're going to need pizza dough, and it doesn't have to necessarily be pizza dough. You can use a pre-made pizza crust. You could use a tortilla. You could do something like boboli. You can do, the Pillsbury pizza crust, whatever it is that you prefer. There's a whole lot of different options, but we always use our homemade pizza dough. On top of that, for the sauce, you're going to have some cream cheese. The exact amount is going to kind of vary a bit. The way that Casey's does it, they actually do a whipped cream cheese, but I think that they do that at least primarily just to soften it up, make it a little bit easier to spread. In our case, we just let ours sit out so that it has a chance to soften on its own, and we'll use as much of that as we need, which I've only made this one other time before, so I'm not positive on the exact amount, but we'll figure that out as we go. Next thing you're going to need, of course, is some cheese. I have a half and half blend of mozzarella and cheddar cheese here. This is previously shredded, of course, separately. I'm using about 4 ounces of each, so roughly about 4 ounces of mozzarella and 4 ounces of sharp cheddar, but you can use any blend you like. The last time I made this, I actually made it with just mozzarella cheese, but the way that Casey's does it, they do a blend of the two, so that's what we're gonna do this time as well. Next thing you're going to need is, of course, pickled jalapenos. You probably could get by using the fresh jalapenos that are not pickled, but I find the pickled jalapenos are incredibly delicious. That's also what Casey's uses. These are actually from the same batch of the ones that we made for the video a while back. The last little bit that we have before I'm gonna have to make some more, but they are going to be excellent and they have more spice than you'll get from most pickled jalapenos. Then you're going to need some bacon. Now, I am using my homemade bacon, which I've cut up and already cooked into bacon bits previously, so I just basically already had them ready to go. But if you don't have any of our homemade bacon, I'll mention also that the jalapenos, the dough, and the bacon recipes will all be linked down in the description. But if you don't have your own homemade bacon bits, you can also just get some prefab ones. I really like the ones from Sam's Club, and on the Casey's pizza, they do use prefab bacon bits of some kind, probably just whatever they make in their factories, all that. But obviously, because we have our homemade bacon and it is so much better, that's what we're going to be using. And we have about 8 ounces of homemade bacon here, all chopped up and fried up, so it's good to go. I know it looks like it's a little bit undercooked. That's primarily because of the fact that it's so much thicker than what you get with typical bacon. And furthermore, since we're going to be cooking this in the oven, it's going to get cooked even more. All right, and then the last thing you're going to need as a drizzle after you bake the pizza is some hot honey. Mike's hot honey is excellent. It seems to kind of vary on how spicy it is. I've had one bottle where it was like surprisingly spicy. This one I found it has not been quite as much, but either way, it's just like a really nice complement to everything else. So now that we have all our ingredients together, we're gonna go ahead and get started with assembling our pizza. Right, now to assemble this pizza, as per usual, we're gonna start off by sprinkling down some cornmeal so that this is easy to peel up with our pizza peel. If you have not seen any of my previous videos where I've been using the pizza peel and everything else, you can, of course, cook the pizza on a pizza pan, in which case I would recommend just doing that. But if you have either a cast iron pizza plate or a pizza stone or something like that, typically what you'll want to do is you'll want to preheat that in the oven, and then you just slide the pizza onto it. I have a cast iron pizza plate, and so that's what I'm going to be using. I basically just recommend doing it on a flat surface, putting down some cornmeal because you want to make it as easy as possible to get the pizza up, especially if you're loading it up with a bunch of ingredients like we are. Even though this one's not as loaded as many of our other pizzas, it's still loaded enough that it's going to need all the help it can get so that we don't have any issues getting it slid into the oven and cooked without folding and making a huge mess. So we'll go ahead and get the pizza dough pulled out and stretched by hand. And if you've never made the homemade pizza dough that we make, I definitely recommend trying it out because it is a fantastic recipe. And whether you cook it at a high temperature like we're gonna do, or you just do it at a normal temperature, you are gonna get some of the best pizza crust that you've ever had, at least in my opinion. You're gonna get the best pizza crust you've ever had. Everyone agrees, or at least that's what I've been told. So stretch that out to roughly around the size of our pizza plate. We're going to add our cream cheese, which we've given a chance to soften. And once again, you can of course whip it like Casey's does. In this case, normally I would let it soften for quite a while to get it softened up. But if you don't have time for that, you can also unwrap the cream cheese and then just put it in the microwave for 10 to 20 seconds. That'll be enough to get it softened up, and then it'll be nice and easy to spread. And the amount you're going to use on this really just kind of depends on primarily your personal taste. I find about half a package is roughly enough. I have all of it softened here just in case because I've only made this pizza one other time, but looks like half a package should be roughly about what we need to make this pizza. We'll go a little generous here, but cream cheese is one of the best things about jalapeno poppers, right? Then we're going to add our blend of mozzarella and cheddar cheese, and we did shred this on our own. The only reason I didn't do this on film was because I did it in Blender. I actually highly recommend, if you have a Ninja blender in particular, there is an attachment you can use that lets you shred cheese, and since I've been using that, it's just a game changer. It makes it so much faster to shred the cheese, and it's the only way that I will shred it nowadays. But we'll go ahead and just put down all 8 ounces total that we have of the 2 cheeses. I am using whole milk mozzarella and then sharp cheddar cheese. You can use obviously whatever kind of cheese you like on your pizza. You can do it just mozzarella, you can do a mild cheddar, whatever works best for you. But personally, we love sharp cheddar in this family, and whole milk mozzarella is just preferable because it is, I don't know, it's just a lot better, and it melts better and everything else about it. So do whatever you like, but we use whole milk mozzarella and sharp cheddar. Next, we're going to put down our pickled jalapenos, and you can obviously go as light or as heavy as you want with these. We're going to go pretty heavy because this is supposed to be a jalapeno popper pizza, and if you go light on the jalapenos, well, that's hard to call that a jalapeno popper pizza in my opinion. So we're going to go pretty generous. We're going to have to make some more anyway. All right, I'd say that is a sufficient amount. Then we have our homemade bacon bits, and you can go as, once again, as light or as heavy as you want with this. I'm doing roughly about 8 ounces worth of bacon here, of the homemade bacon, and just do it to your liking, however much you want or don't want. Since I don't have any other meat on this pizza, I'm going a lot more generous than I would otherwise, but of course the homemade bacon is just incredible, so it's going to be totally worth it. All right, and that's our pizza. So something I want to note here, if you are doing this on a cast iron pizza plate or a pizza stone, anything like that, you're typically going to want your oven to be preheated to 550 degrees. And by doing that, it will get it up to be super hot. The pizza stone or pizza plate, whatever, should be in the oven when you're preheating, and that way it gets super hot, cooks the pizza really fast. But if you're doing it that way, you're going to cook it about 6 minutes at 550 degrees. Then you'll switch over to the broiler on high, do it for about another 2 minutes, and then at that point you can pull it out and we'll go from there. If you are not doing it at the high temperature with the pizza stone or pizza plate, you'll want to do it at 375 degrees, and you'll be doing it for roughly about 20 minutes. So we're gonna get this onto our pizza peel and get this in the oven. Now the taste test. Look at that, it is gorgeous. Oh man.
My goodness. Right away you get crunch, jalapenos, a little sweetness, a little spice, the cheese, the cream cheese. That is so good.
Alright. Let's grab a beautiful piece here. Oh man. I mean, just look at that. It's beautiful. It's still pretty hot, but oh man. Alright. That's even better than last time. You know, last time we made it with just mozzarella, we didn't do cheddar as well, but oh man, that is incredible. I'm telling you, make this, make it, just make it yourself, especially if you do it with the homemade bacon. And even if you can't do it with the homemade bacon, still make it yourself. Do our crust, do some pickled jalapenos and just everything. Don't skip the hot honey, please. Even if you don't like spice, it is so good. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends, and stay tuned for more recipes that, while not necessarily authentic, are always delicious. And the, even more. Then we'll get our cream cheese and start getting that on and spread. It's going to be, at least in this case, pretty thick, which is, like I said, I think that's the reason why it is that Casey's whips theirs before they add it on. We're gonna go ahead and get this onto our pizza peel, and then we'll get started.